and it just looks like it's coming out of the screen. But it's that frickin' A7 force sensor, man. What's up?
Hey, $100.
Not today. We're getting closer.
You tell me. You let me know.
650.
100. 100. $100. What's up, guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode. Hope you guys are having a great week. Man, in case you missed it, Black Friday's still going on. Black Friday 24, all caps. I'll put it below. Go grab something on there. The Cerakote drop from last week, you guys crushed it. Look at this. I can finally complete my green carry. I didn't have one of these personally yet, so Danny decided to keep the orange one.
Go Vols.
So, all right. Hey, in this video, before we go too far, I'm gonna give away two of these green TPT slides. But there is a caveat. So I'm not a bait and switch kind of guy. I'm gonna give two of these away, and the reason I'm giving those two away, there's just a couple little tiny chips on them where the paint chipped as we put some screws in. That's it. They work great. They look awesome. Other than that, but I thought it'd be cool just to give them away. So comment below, give me that green, and I'm gonna pick two winners on Monday. That would be I guess it's the 18th, Friday's the 15th. This video is coming out on the 15th, so 18th. Monday the 18th, I'm gonna pick two winners. Give me that green, comment it below, but you have to be subscribed, so make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and like this too if you can. Comment below, give me that green, and I'm gonna pick some winners on Monday.
All right.
Roy, we're gonna need two of these, my man.
That's good. Go ahead. Thanks,
Awesome.
Roy.
Thanks, Roy. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Danny and I knocked out a big project yesterday. Told you guys last week we're gonna have a really big gift guide video that we're gonna post next week. So Monday, Tuesday next week, somewhere in there, we're gonna be throwing that thing up. Got a lot of cool stuff from a lot of cool companies. So be on the lookout for that coming Monday or Tuesday. Danny's working hard on the edit on it right now.
Crushing.
Before we get too far into the video too, next week we're gonna have a pretty big drop coming that I'll show you guys a little bit more next week about. Something that's been in the works for a long time. You guys actually already know what it is, but just for fun, I'm not gonna tell you right now. You can't just give away the farm. I do need your opinion on something. There's this store at the bottom of the hill from us, that kind of wholesale stuff, and there's something they have that I want, and I need you to let me know if I should get this. Do we need this? Here, Danny, stand next to that for scale. Danny for scale. I saw this through the window last week and thought, man, that thing is epic. I kind of want it. It's way too much money. They won't take $100 for it yet. It would look super cool in the office. We're gonna let the people. We're gonna let the people at home decide if we buy the Indian for $100. He's gonna give me that Indian.
And the answer is no. The people have decided. People have spoken.
They're like, not $100. If this video gets 500 likes, he's gonna let me buy it for $100.
$5,000 if it gets $100.
See, man, he's gonna cave one day, and we're gonna get that thing for $100.
Absolutely.
We have a very special guest this week that's hanging out with us for the next couple days. He just got here a second ago. Let's see who's here. It's Huiy!
What up?
Guys,
Good to see you.
Huiy from RZE is here, spending, 2 days?
2 days.
2 days with us, staying at the old fancy hotel next door. Huiy's here for a couple days hanging out. I think you brought us some treats.
I did. Snacks.
Huiy is from the great state of Canada.
The great state of Canada.
Canada, America's hat.
So we brought you the fantastic ketchup chips. The
Canadian
renowned
staple,
a
right?
Canadian staple. 70 years of quality and ketchup. Tim
Canadians
Hortons.
are so funny.
Pretend coffee. This isn't actually real coffee. It's the equivalent of Dunkin' Donuts, but Canadian. We got Nanaimo bars. There is sugar, icing sugar, molasses, honey, a variety of other things, including wheat and coconut. So
Look at this.
love
More
sugar. We got maple syrup.
Goodness, you guys like sugar.
And then maple syrup en français. And it's always Easter in Canada. We got Cadbury mini eggs and
old
Crispers,
leaves,
all dressed. So that's the other quality Canadian flavor.
Okay.
Every flavor, including garlic, vinegar, probably some ketchup.
What should we try?
What should you try?
What should we try? The all dressed up or the ketchup chips?
I think the ketchup chips is the most nostalgia packaging. Literally, it looked like this in 1990 as well. We got this like inconspicuous foil packaging.
Biohazard,
Yeah, exactly.
recyclable.
Exactly. All right,
Ketchup chips. All right,
ketchup
here we
chips,
go.
do the job.
All right. Cheers. Cheers. I got to eat it twice to actually form an opinion type person.
I like it.
I get it.
Potatoey than Lay's. More
Very good.
potatoey.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy.
I've experienced ketchup chips. I'm a real Canadian now. I've been to Canada. I've made fun of Canada many times on camera. For some reason, I don't know why, it's become a thing.
It's just a natural
I just give
thing.
Canada a hard time, especially you, Matt Cruz. And,
Standard Matt Cruz, typical Canadian.
He's a Tim Hortons guy. All right, so we're gonna hang out with Huiy for a couple days. We're gonna talk about some RZE stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about kind of his involvement with the company, how they started, all that stuff. We'll get to that later.
I'm really
Rip
cool.
it, Huiy!
Red leather, yellow leather. I'm gonna close that screen because I will look at it.
Red leather. What's red leather?
It's just a way to warm up your tongue.
Oh, red leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Yellow leather?
Unique
Yellow
New York.
leather.
Unique New York.
Unique?
Red leather, yellow leather. Welcome to the 5 o'clock news.
Good morning, San Diego.
All right, just like I told you guys, we're gonna sit down with Huiy, and I wanna hear, first out of the gate, just how did RZE start and how did you get involved?
I guess the difficult thing is that I was not one of the original founders of RZE. So Travis, my partner, was one of the original founders with his longtime childhood friend, Clarence. Travis actually started in the watch industry in 2017 in Singapore. He founded a watch brand then. Worked on it for a little while and then had an exit there and then wanted to start RZE with the intent of focusing on titanium and offering a unique spin on titanium.
And really started, what, 2020?
2020 is when we started, and then I've been with the company since I think 2022. Yeah,
Okay, it's about 2-ish years.
2-ish years. Yeah, a little over 2 years now. And so where I came to join the company is that I've been a watch enthusiast my entire life, and you know, I've always been into more heritage brands. I wasn't really into independents or micros and stuff like that because I was really looking for heritage and believed that watchmaking was kind of one of those things that has stood the test of time. These companies that have been around for a long time, they must be
there's
really
some
good at
heritage,
them.
some history behind them, yep.
Yeah,
I get that, yeah.
And so I was often collecting a lot of those older watches. So I wasn't really collecting modern watches and things like that. And I talked to Travis, and Travis asked why, and we've gone into this conversation about heritage and things like that. And one of the things I happened to say was that I don't believe that any new watch brand is really bringing anything new to the table other than new designs and stuff like that. But technologically, I think that what's been important has already been established. And then these...
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the watch brands that, you know, developed those technologies, developed them out of need for those specific time periods. So
Yeah.
when we wear a watch, we're often looking back on legacy. We're looking back at things that were achieved or developed for a particular reason. And so we all know that titanium's biggest challenge is that it scratches and, you know, corrodes, and then you get that finish, or what some of us call patina. Some people really like patina.
I love patina.
Some people love patina.
Tells a story.
But
not everybody does.
Not
right?
everyone
Yeah.
does, especially with titanium. And if you're of the age that you remember titanium MacBooks,
Yes,
yeah,
actually.
and so it would go from like really nice to just like really scratched and
Look
really
real bad, real fast.
Yeah, really graphite pencily. You know, there's a new development in technology at that time. People were starting to put clear coats or hard coatings on stainless steel watches to preserve the finishes and stuff like that. And so Travis really appreciating titanium. He's a commercial airline pilot, and seeing that titanium was used in aerospace a lot, he wanted to try to bring those things together because titanium watches weren't particularly popular yet in 2020 in a mainstream sense.
That seems like crazy to think that they weren't that popular. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, but
It's just
titanium-
2024, so
Thanks to you guys, titanium is the thing.
it's the dream.
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
crazy to think how far and like how popular titanium watches have come in just such a short time, right?
Absolutely.
That's super cool.
And so, you know, where we differentiate is that we have this hard coating Ultra Hex. And so this proprietary
Which is a
coating,
trademarked term, too.
Yeah, it's
Ultra
trademarked,
Hex.
yeah.
Trademarked term, super cool.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we want to do is make it more scratch resistant and make it corrosion resistant. And so a lot of the criticisms of titanium, they might ask us why our titanium watches are a grade 2 titanium instead of grade 5 titanium. And
Which is solid pure titanium,
which is
right?
solid pure titanium.
Grade
both,
2, yeah.
Both grade 2 and grade 5 are actually, you know, solid titaniums. They're really great, and most practical applications, they're identical. But one of the things that you can't do to grade 2 titanium is that you can't polish it. Grade 5 can be polished, yeah, and the manufacturing is a little bit different, but all in all, they're going to be functionally the same. But one of the things that people talk about is that technically grade 5 is more scratch resistant.
It's quite a bit harder.
Quite a bit,
yeah.
It's a bit harder on, generally a bit harder, but one of the things is it's just surface hardness. And so that's where the hard coating comes in. So once we look at something like Ultra Hex, it makes it 8 times harder than stainless steel, 5 times harder than grade 2 titanium, 3 times harder than grade 5 titanium, and it really deletes that negative aspect.
Yeah.
So if the big thing about it is corrosion and scratch resistance, then really that's what Ultra Hex does. And so one of the things that we know about watches is that often you feel like when you scratch a watch, you're like, it hurts. And so we want to try and prolong that feeling because we understand that a watch is an investment. You want it to last a long time. You want it to be with you for generally your lifetime, but you don't want all your scratches to show. So we kind of say that, you know, our watches can escape most of conditions unscathed, but you may not. Mechanical movements are robust and reliable. And so we want to focus on offering you something that's built to last a lifetime. But the finish is often one of those things that is diminished by time.
You said it is 5 times harder than grade 2?
That's right.
That's crazy. Just from a coating?
Just from a coating. One of the pieces that we actually talked about was that I had mentioned to Travis that a super compressor is something that's really interesting because it's technology that JLC Jaeger-LeCoultre, or some people may pronounce it differently, sorry. But JLC is one of the companies that made the super compressor, which is a unique mechanism that allows for the case to compress as it goes deeper in the water because back in the day, gaskets weren't as good and cases weren't as good and stuff. But technically now, a super compressor is, I guess, outdated or an obsolete technology. Yeah. But the patent just expired.
Oh, nice.
And so
that means it's free game.
That means it's free game. And, you know, I think for most companies, because it's a defunct technology or it's dated, it's not something that you would make in modern day. And, you know, it's thousands of dollars for a JLC. Yeah. And so in this conversation with Travis about being a watch enthusiast and why I don't believe in independence or micros and stuff, he says, well, like you like history. You like things like super compressors. I'm going to make one out of titanium. I'm going to be one of the first companies or the first to make one out of titanium. I looked at him and I was like, you can take my money.
You're like, I'm in.
I'm in. This is a story that really needs to be told. And, you know, it's something that you guys are really great at is telling the story of the products and sharing why they're developed and what the history is and, you know, kind of all these kind of interesting stories about the products. And that's somewhere where I felt like microbrands and independents really need that to kind of help communicate their story and stuff. And so that's where I started working with Travis saying like, yeah, you know, this titanium thing, this Ultra Hex thing, you know, it's more than just specs on a page. It needs...
Oh no, there's a reason, there's a story, yeah. So
exactly.
Like, I love, like, my favorite products of anything I've ever had, like, have a rich history and they have a rich, like, reason why they were developed the way they were, and like especially when they like stand the test of time, like you were saying with like a mechanical movement or automatic movements, the history that just naturally evolved because of that product, right?
Absolutely.
So, and you're saying like a lot of this, like in the watch world, is so historical, but most of them are based around like old military style, like inspired watches, like field watches are very like. What is that, World War II era?
Yeah, that's right.
Like even like the most famous strap style is a British or the Royal Air Force made that strap, and so. There's so much history just in the last, 80 years now, that has come to the watch world from the 40s.
You know, World War I and trench war, trench watches and things like that. And so there's really not a ton of development. Like, 'cause, for example, like the moon landing and the moon watch and stuff like that, there's all these historical significant moments. And one of the things that I was talking about micro brands for is that it's interesting because we're now in this age where we buy things and we consume them and we have these things, but when we pass them on to, say, our friends or our children or whatever, you'd hope that they would take that story with them, and that's what legacy comes from. Usually when you have a heritage watch or you have a car or something like that, you can quickly Google it and it's been around for 20 or 30 or 40 years. You can get all the information. If your friend or your dad or your mom or whoever passed it on to you didn't give you all those details, you can kind of learn that story. And one of the things that
nowadays you can.
Nowadays you can. And one of the things that I told Travis when we were talking about the brand and stuff is that we wanted to develop a brand with legacy where like your watch would be something that you could talk about at a dinner table and you could make it relatable.
Well, I've talked about this watch many times around dinner tables and friend groups.
And that's the thing that we want to celebrate is we wanted to start making watches for everyday adventurers where we validate their personal stories. But as well integrate something that's interesting that they can share around a dinner table and talk about like why they purchased these watches, what are the specs that are relatable, like, oh, this doesn't scratch. That's a lot better than, hey, did you know that this has 40 hours of power reserve? Like maybe your friend made this or like you know me. And so that's really exciting. And I think that that's a lot of why people buy certain products like t-shirts and things like that. But a watch is a real life decision. And
it really is. I mean, I'm a guy that I would say I only would buy maybe a handful of watches in my lifetime, right?
Exactly.
So, now we, of course, make some watches with Travis and Huiy, and so I have more than that, but I would only purchase myself. I think I've purchased like maybe 3 watches in my life. Then I get attached to stuff really easily. So I'm actually very attached to this watch. I would be very sad if anything ever happened to this one. Starting our relationship, that was one thing that kind of drew me into you guys, I think, was I'm a big fan of cool brands, but especially if they have cool people attached to them, right? Like those are my favorite brands, are the people that like, I know the personality and the heart of the person that's making the product, even more so than I know their product. I get more attached to that. I think it was 21, is when Travis reached out to us. And we did a big trade because he was like, hey, you guys make cool titanium stuff. We love titanium. We should be friends. I think I went back and forth with him through DMs. Really, really great dude. And so he actually sent me this, which I think is a Resolute.
Yeah.
Is that right? Resolute?
Yeah, that's a Resolute.
I nailed it. So, I quickly became very obsessed and attached to this watch. It's got some cheap Amazon Barton watch strap on it or something like that. But anyway, quickly fell in love with this watch. And then Chad and Joe also got some watches, and we just kind of were like, these are sweet. Like this case design's beautiful. We really, really loved the whole aesthetic. It fit our brand. It looks like us. Looks like something we would have made. And so we kind of reached out and we're like, hey, can we do our own version of this? So if you look, it's actually the same case as our TI field watch. So we actually based our field watch off of this, which is kind of your all's like classic field watch, or at least at the time was, right? So this is about the same size. Yeah, actually exact same size, 40 and a half.
It's actually still our classic field watch. So that's the watch
really
that started it all. And so the intent was to create a modern everyday adventure field watch. So like we discussed previously, like a field watch is one of those watches that comes from military, and generally a lot of those basic military watches are very utilitarian, not typically super stylish. They do the job.
Look cool.
You think they look cool?
But I love like old like heritage style stuff. Like I like boots that have been around since the 30s and stuff like that. I love, like I play guitars that haven't changed since 1946, so stands the test of time. So I like old cars. Yeah. Clearly, we have one of my dad's '77 Alfa Romeos right here.
Keep it classic, but then be able to modernize it.
Sure. So I think you guys do a good blend of that. Don't take it too far.
Yeah.
Because there's a blend of like, especially if you're trying to modernize something that doesn't necessarily, we'll say, need modernizing. There's a spot where you can take it too far and it totally changes it. There's no the personality of the original is gone, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you guys toe that line really, really well in all your designs. I've really enjoyed the different designs you guys have put out because of that. It's like pushing the boundaries without completely neglecting the history. I think that's really cool about how you guys design your stuff. I think you toe that line very, very well, I would say.
Thank you. So this is the most recent refined iteration of that Resolute. So this is the Resolute Pro. Okay. And so you'll see that actually...
Pro, I think, is a good name for this. It feels a bit, we'll say, fancier. This is the rugged version. This is like, I'm gonna take my wife out to dinner version. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear this one to the office and then this one out for dinner.
Wanted to give you that one other watch that might be a little bit elevated, still a good field watch, but still is a bit refined. So in the original iteration of the Resolute that you had, that Travis sent you, you'll see that it's a bead blasted finish, more utilitarian, less shine, and then
Greasy face.
But then what we realized, we thought really hard about, was that how can we iterate on this so that it can be a little bit, like you said, take your wife out to dinner, be a little bit more fancy, but not take away that utilitarian thing, so that you feel like, oh, this is too nice to go under a car.
Yeah.
So, with the hard
too
coating,
nice for me to take under a
nothing's
car. I'll
too
literally
nice.
take anything under a car. That's fine.
So what we did was we made it so that, of course, like you can quick release and take the bracelet right off, so you can throw it on some straps,
nice, yeah.
right? But also, like, you'll notice that we chose to brush this, and because people
Yeah, but it's not quite polished.
Not quite polished.
It's a shiny
exactly.
matte. Yeah, it's
because,
a nice finish. I like it.
Exactly, because grade 2
Feels very intentional.
Yeah,
which is
grade
cool.
2 can't be polished, so we acknowledged that, and then found a way to kind of make it look more refined. So a little bit of finishing with that brushing, and then with that coating, you kind of get to retain that that beautiful finish.
That's cool. So what is, if you have a role, I know in a small company, everybody does everything like we do, but like what is your, like, if you had to give yourself a title, which I don't like titles, so I hate asking this question, but I feel like it's appropriate.
I'm the
So,
marketing machine, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do global marketing. That's my role, is marketing.
Ooh, if you put global in front of anything, it sounds so much cooler.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I like that. Respect.
I only say global, I guess, in a sense, because we do see ourselves as an international brand.
Of course, everybody is nowadays with the
Everyone
internet, right?
is, but
But you guys are a little different in, like, geographically, you guys are all over the place.
geographically all over the
So
place.
you are in, don't tell me, Calgary, Alberta.
Close.
I don't know Canada.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah. Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton
So you're
Oilers.
in Canada. Travis is in Singapore.
Singapore, yeah.
And then
Yeah, so Clarence, he's in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Kirk, that does a lot of our creative, he's based in Toronto.
Yep.
We
He's a
have
good buddy of ours. He's a great dude.
And then we got a community manager that's working with us now, that he's based in Adelaide, Australia. Yeah, so we're all over
Literally
the place.
everywhere.
Literally.
2 in Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia.
And Australia, yeah.
Do you guys ever get together for staff meetings outside of, like, in person?
We did, actually. We met in Langkawi in Malaysia just in September.
I remember the last time I went to Langkawi in Malaysia. It was beautiful. I've never been to Malaysia. That's awesome. So you guys actually all got together and got to be in one room together, which sounds impossible with that geographical separation,
Minus Kirk.
right?
Kirk didn't make it, unfortunately.
Next time, Kirk.
Next time,
man. And it's been neat to see, like, just how international, like, I feel like that's such a good way to look at the watch world, especially in the micro brands, right? So it's like you could be anywhere and have a headquarters and have the idea, right? That's kind of how we function. It's like we're designing in Chattanooga, but we're working with you and Travis. So we got connections in Canada, we got connections in Singapore, who are then manufactured by, if I remember right, Travis's, like, uncle-in-law or
So his
something like that?
uncle-in-law does some manufacturing, but we use different suppliers for different things depending on our products and stuff like that. But yeah,
He's got like a family connection to the manufacturing, so which makes it even cooler for me. I really love that. And but then we're using components from Japan. We're using components from Illinois. We're using, like, I mean, from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So the watch world is, I feel like it gets muddled when people say, like, my watch is made here. It's like, sure, it might have been assembled there, but there's so much more to it than that, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I think that watches is a good example of, like, the idea that things are not just like the sum of their parts. Like, that car is
100%.
not just paint and a light and things like that. And I think that when it comes to watches, it's really more than that. Especially because every detail could be the detail that is really important to you. Like, some people who really care about an engine, they really care about the movement.
For sure.
Or some people that really care about comfort might really care about a strap as opposed to a bracelet. And so we try to really do it all, but at the same time we make it adaptability. And so that's why we make it so that, for example, like, our bracelet fits on the Big Eye watch, and it actually fits on all of our watches that are 20mm lugs, because we want it to be so that you could just own one watch or two watches, and if you do own two, that you can make them cross-compatible without necessarily being frustrated by how it fits or how it looks and things like that. Because one thing that I think that is important about us is that we want to be your first choice. in watch.
like
we don't want you to compromise and arrive at us and then think like, oh, I'm just going to get this for a little while and then move on. Certainly, if you do that, that's great. If you buy 10 of our watches, that's fantastic.
great.
But
We call those people collectors.
exactly.
Yep.
But one of the things that we do offer is we offer a trade-in program, which we call the Re-Verified program. So,
I
for
know
example,
that.
if for example, you buy one of our watches on Kickstarter and then you decide that you want to upgrade or you want a different color or you want to change the look, you can trade it in. Just like you can change your straps and stuff like that, because we do believe that our watches are built for the everyday adventurer. They're supposed to go on adventures. They're not supposed to sit in drawers. And if they're
Use your
sitting,
stuff,
use your
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you wear this watch and you don't want it anymore and you trade it in, then we'll help you tell that story by kind of servicing it and continuing it and having someone else take it on adventures. But if not, you have it forever. I want people to be able to look it up and that this is what RZE is about and it's for everyday adventurers and things like that. So yeah, that's the goal.
Awesome. You guys have mainly done automatics, mechanical movements, that kind of stuff, stuck to kind of the classics, right?
Yeah.
And so we actually, when we wanted to partner with you guys, we wanted to do something just a little different too. And so we did the automatic version, but we also do the solar version.
Right.
But you guys have just come out with the solar, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's something that we recognize from your audience as well as a lot of EDC people is that there's a term in the watch world that's a go anywhere, do anything. It's a GATA watch. And a true go anywhere, do anything watch is typically a solar watch because if you have a mechanical watch, what's the biggest problem with it? If you don't wear it for 48 hours, it might die.
It's dead.
It's dead.
Like,
And then you'll...
like my Fortitude right here. Actually, look, it's back on because I shook it around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not in time though. That's a good point, actually. That didn't even cross my mind. So
Yeah.
they only have a 40-ish hour reserve battery life.
Yeah, 40, like, you know, there's some new ones that have 80 and stuff like that. But, you know, for us, generally speaking, it's about 40 hours. And so with the, you know, EDC audience, GATA is really important. Go anywhere, do anything means that you can throw it in your kit, you can throw it in your ruck, you can throw it in whatever, go camping or like throw it in your camping bag. And generally they're Timexes or things that might be a little bit more affordable. But generally speaking, you pick it up and it's exactly the same time as when you put it down, unless the battery died.
But the reserve battery life on a solar, even in complete darkness, is like 6 months.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring in a solar that was kind of the same thing, like similar in that it could be a go anywhere, do anything watch. And one of the things about this solar is that it actually has a solar cell in the chapter ring.
Okay, I was just
which
about to ask where the solar ring was.
Yeah, so the solar cell is
I
in the
can see it,
chapter
yeah.
ring. So you actually can have a whatever color dial that you want because of that chapter ring charging. And then this movement is actually something that we can really count on. And it's so reliable that we're able to guarantee the movement for life.
Oh, wow, okay, so it's a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, lifetime
which is
warranty
not
on the
common
movement.
in the watch world, if you didn't know that. Typically, they're like 2-ish years, right?
Yeah.
Year to 4 years, probably.
One of the things that we wanted to do in terms of offering a true go anywhere, do anything, everyday adventurers watch is that it's probably going to be no frills, no gimmicks, no hassles,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it is.
That's really cool. It's got a really good, clean, pretty classic field watch kind of face to it, too. So there's not too much modern going on with this one, which I love. I love
Exactly.
kind of old school looking stuff.
36 millimeters.
Okay.
So that being a smaller face, it is actually a classic size. 36 millimeters used to be the standard size field watch. In fact, if you look back at Rolex and Tudor, there's a lot of 34 millimeter and 36 millimeter. Yeah, that's right.
Jeez, I'm too big of a guy.
34
I
millimeter.
can't-
Listen, but
at
back
this.
in the day, they were all that
They were all,
size.
that's true. They were and people were tiny. We've gotten huge over the years. Yeah. So this is a 40 and a half. I think is that right? 40 and a
40,
half?
40.
Or is it 40? Okay.
Yeah.
40 mil case on the field watch, and then that guy's 36. So little size comparison. That's really cool. I like the green Cerakote. I like some green Cerakote. Speaking of that, don't forget, comment below if you want to win one of those green TPT slides. Give me the green.
Green
That's what you gotta
TPT
tag.
slide?
Giving away 2 of them.
2 of them.
With an asterisk because they both have chips in the paint. But they're free, so sign up in the bottom, make sure you're subscribed.
Even I want that.
Give me that green is what you got to put down below.
Give me that green.
It's pretty sick. Well, dude, this is awesome. You guys have some amazing stuff. He's in town for a couple days hanging out, and then you're on your way to Austin, Texas.
That's right.
To what show?
Intersect.
Intersect. And so that is, what dates of the show? Friday?
That's just Saturday. That's
So this video will be up on Friday. So if you're going to Intersect, go check out Huiy. He's running the booth. You guys have a table, right?
We have a table, yeah.
Nice. We're
Please
gonna
do.
have some cool stuff in Austin, Texas, Intersect. Is it just a watch show?
Just a watch show.
Huiy, thanks for coming. Thanks so much for the information. That's a lot of info, but I hope you guys maybe learn something about watches. I learned a few things about watches just from this conversation. And so check them out. I'll make sure the website is linked below. It's just rzewatches.com, and Instagram is just at RZE Watches, right?
That's right.
Super easy. That's how we like it. So remember, enter to win those TBT slides. Give me that green. There's 2 of them. I'm going to do the giveaway on Monday. You have to be subscribed to win. Black Friday's still going on. Black Friday 24 is the code. And next week, I've got something really exciting to show you. So we've got something big that we're releasing next week. So stay tuned. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next time. See ya. You want to cover the lens for me?